All right, well, welcome everybody around the world. Welcome to all my subscribers. This is a quick video here. Um, People really need to stop drinking the Kool-Aid. It's just making everybody so gullible, so naive. It's just to another level. So many people are out there flocking their attention to this Bugha Sphere nonsense. But let me tell you quite simply with some common sense why this is nothing but a big Bugha Sphere hoax. Okay? Few important points. Number one is in the original video, people often forget this, right? But in the, thought something was in my hair there. In the original video, the sphere is alleged to be flying around. Like you could see this sphere flying around on the video, right? And then it apparently crashes or lands in this foresty, woody area. And you can see a guy go to collect the sphere, right? That was the very first original clip before all the up close clips came out and all of that. Okay, people often forget that. And welcome. Good to see you here. So everybody is focused on, all the current video and images of this etched sphere with all these like details on it and all that. But everybody's real quick to forget the original video of it flying around, right? Because, and why is that relevant here? Because everybody, every YouTuber out there is, racking in all these views, hyping up all this baloney nonsense about the sphere every other day. Oh, the sphere does this. I went and saw the sphere that. But they're not mentioning that it was apparently by the video, by its original video, it was a flying device, right? It was flying around, but notice how it's ever so stationary here on the ground and in the labs and in the people's hands. It's not flying around. You don't hear people saying, oh, well, it's a flying sphere, do you? No. It's like that part of it just vaporized out of everybody's minds. And you know why? It's because these content creators on YouTube have been pumping out thousands of videos on the Bugha Sphere, okay? Saturating everybody's minds. Now, if it really was a flying device, it would have to have some means of flight. You're telling me that you have a metallic sphere about the size of a soccer ball with all the modern technology we have, and you're telling me that these people have not gone and just stuck it in a regular old x-ray machine to see what's inside of it. Oh, they allegedly have, they claim, and they found microspheres and microchips and circuitry and fiber optic cables and all this nonsense. Even if that were true, which it's not, and I'll explain, even if all of that stuff was true, none of that stuff allows for flight. There is nothing within the sphere whatsoever that would enable flight. Not even some form of sophisticated engine that's beyond human comprehension. There is nothing inside the sphere. You know why? Because it's just a metallic ball that somebody made as a hoax. Okay? There's no engine in it. But it has to have a means to fly, to defy gravity, right? So what the naive people will say is, the naive gullible people, oh, well, they found circuitry on it. And look at the thing on the surface. It kind of looks like a really cool little circuit board, right? Naive and gullible. It's a simple little design that a child could etch. You know what I mean? It looks like a child did etch the designs that are on its surface. But there are no microchips. I did some fact checking on all of this, right? Because if this thing really was an ancient device, and mind you, I also want to point out that all the alleged claims about this thing, they're so far around all across the board. Like, oh, it's 12,000 years old. Oh, it flies. Oh, it has ancient Sanskrit on it. It has microchips in it. Everything's just like all over the place, right? I did some fact checking, and they did not find microchips inside of it. They didn't. The actual scientist who made that discovery did not use the term chip or microchip. The term that he used was microsphere. Then the ignorant people have gone and thought, oh, well, the surface design kind of looks like a circuit board. Oh, and I heard a fancy science man say microsphere. Oop, one brain cell starts the spark towards the other one brain cell, if there's any out there left over afterwards. And they somehow amalgamate microsphere, which just means a little ball, into a microchip. Now, I don't know what level of ignorance you have to be at to compute those two things together, because a sphere is not a microchip. You know what I mean? The scientists who made that alleged discovery never even said it was a microchip. So there is no circuitry on this thing. Fiber optic cables, I would love to see actual scientific evidence of that. But besides that point, more importantly, we technically would have all reason to believe that this thing could contain microchips, circuitry, and fiber optic cables. You know why? Because it's human made. It's a fake. It's a hoax. It's made out of refined aluminum, for heaven's sake. Okay? And if someone was putting together a hoax, yeah, of course, in our modern day, they could just go put some fancy technological stuff into it to further dupe the gullible. But whoever made this fake didn't put that next level of effort into it. They didn't even use a stencil to etch the symbols and the shapes that are on its surface. Okay? The only symbols and shapes on its surface that are symmetrical and have symmetry to them are those like archy designs. Those are the easiest things to etch with a stencil. But the language, because the language is made up, there's no stencil for it. Whoever faked it could have made a stencil, but obviously they were too lazy to even do that. It's freehand, using something like a Dremel tool to etch by hand, as you can clearly see. Anybody who's not naive and gullible and has at least one eyeball could look at the etchings on the surface, the language that's written on there, and clearly see that this was done by hand, freehand. There's no proper good symmetry to it. It's askew. It's not in line. You know what I mean? If this was really a machine, that again, everybody forgets, is capable of anti-gravity flight. Okay, but if this is really a technological machine built by some person or being or race that has really an amazing anti-gravity technology, you would think that they would at least be able to etch their etchings symmetrically, in line with one another, but they didn't. Now, you tell me, why would some fancy, super advanced, anti-gravity capable race build this sophisticated piece of machinery and then sit there with an etching tool and freeform by hand write some stuff on the top? It's ridiculous. Anybody with common sense can look at the etchings and realize it's a fake. But because so many people have this plague of ignorance, gullibleness, naivety, okay, and they're naive, whatever the term is, they don't see that. Now, there's some people coming out the woodwork now claiming that it's Proto-Sanskrit. No, it's not. I did some fact checking. No, it's not. Go look up what Proto-Sanskrit looks like. The symbols are not Proto-Sanskrit symbols. Okay, they're not Sanskrit. They're not any known language. It's been compared to known languages, and it doesn't resemble any, even ancient languages. You know why? Because it's just made up. It's fake. It has no connection to anything real or valid, because it's just fake baloney, right? But besides the etchings of that fake language, the most glaring, to me, the most red flag glaring sign that it's an absolute fake are the holes that go around its rim, like it's a crater, right? Around its midsection, all the way around. Because there's like a groove that goes around it. And on this groove, I think it's like a recessed groove or whatever, right? But there's like this groove that goes around it. And I think it is recessed, but in either case, in this groove that runs all the way around its belly, you could say, there are holes drilled into it. Now, two things I want to say. Number one, we're talking about a mysterious metal sphere that was apparently flying by anti-gravity technology. You literally, it's a lightweight, probably mostly hollow sphere, with a rim surrounded by holes. Now, these aren't black holes going to another universe. These are just holes in a metal bowl. And you're telling me that with all these fancy scientists and minds, that not one of them could pick up a flashlight, shine the light into the hole, and look into the bowl and see what's there? Why doesn't anybody mention this? That's just one point. The most glaring red flag issue, like I said, are the holes themselves. Because you could watch a video of the Bugha Sphere in a fancy laboratory being tested by all these who know what scientists. I don't know where they came from or what science degrees they have, right? But you could see that sphere sitting on a table from like 15, 20 feet, maybe 10, 15 feet away, as I did in this one video. And even at that distance, you can see that the holes, again, are not symmetrically aligned. They're not in line with one another. Whoever drilled the holes around the, equator of the sphere didn't even align them correctly. Now, a caveman could have drilled symmetrical holes in something. He could have gotten a string. This is technology a caveman could possess. A string. You hold the string on one side with your thumb. No other technology needed. You get the end of the string, you wrap it around your sphere, right? And you have your straight line going around. Ooh, it's rocket science, right? And then you drill, however you're drilling into it all the way around on the line of the string, perfect straight line all the way around. This is not rocket science. But whoever made this fake sphere couldn't even do what a caveman could do. They did such a half-assed, lazy job that these holes don't even line up with one another. So you see on that recessed groove that goes around it, there's like little ridges and tracks. It's hard to describe. It's easier to see it yourself. But when you go look at this groove yourself, you can see that there's plenty of space to line the holes up. Like whoever did this didn't even line the holes up right. You could look at the sphere from like 10, 15 feet away and see the dark holes, and they don't even line up. They're like up, down, a little bit off, a little bit off. That's not sophisticated engineering. That's a bunch of baloney. How do people not realize this? You know what I mean? It just blows my mind, right? But on top of that, let's get into the woo-woo kooky stuff that people talk about. Like I said, they claim that it's Proto-Sanskrit on there. No, it's not. It is not Proto-Sanskrit. Go look it up yourself and compare. The symbols do not align. Okay, studies have shown it doesn't match any language at all. It's a completely made up, erroneous, anomalous language. Okay, and they're also saying that it responds to, and this goes real out there, but they're saying that it responds to Vedic mantras. Of course it does, because it was found in Colombia, but it's got Hindu text on it. Hindu text from a language that only ever existed in one area of the world, but it's going to be on a sphere that was in Colombia. Of course it would. Of course it would be Vedic Sanskrit. You know why? Because all those hippies that love all that nonsense want to believe that, hey, Hinduism was here aeons, and it was, don't get me wrong, but they throw all this praise and laurels and wreaths on the feet of Hinduism and act like it's the best thing on earth since sliced bread and before sliced bread. They love to throw, even in certain circles in UFOlogy, you got people claiming stuff about, the Vimana flying craft, and whether ancient deities did have flying craft or not, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. My point is, though, is that you get all these different circles in UFOlogy. They latch onto little subtopics and claim it's got to do with the Vedas, right? People are always doing this, and they're trying to say, this was Sanskrit, this was Vedas. They're always trying to Hindu-size all of these events that have nothing to do with Hinduism or Hindu history whatsoever. Absolutely anything at all. Okay? And the same thing here again is people trying to apply a Hinduism lens onto totally irrelevant artifacts. That was my point. I just didn't word it very well. Right? So we got videos of these people out there in their fancy science labs, and you get this hippie lady coming up. No disrespect to her. She's clearly hippie. She's got a conch shell that looks like it's been spray painted gold. Okay? She can't even blow the conch shell right. Like, I have conch shells And where I live, we put holes in them and blow them like trumpets too, right? I could blow a conch shell better than her, right? This is a lady who's trying to push the theory that it's Vedic Sanskrit, it was made by the Vedic gods or whatever nonsense, or some Vedic ancient civilization, and it responds to the conch and it responds to Vedic mantras. And here's her chance in the laboratory with the scientists. She's got her conch shell and she blows it like a 2-year-old child would. Couldn't even hold a note for more than a few seconds. When you blow, I studied Hinduism 15 years. The conch is sacred to them. Blowing the conch is sacred. Blah blah blah. When you blow that conch, you're supposed to blow it with a beautiful, pure, resonant sound. And when you do it, it can echo for miles, and it sounds like an amazing, like ceramic trumpet. Go watch the video of the lady doing it. She's the proponent. She's trying to test out the theory, and she can't even blow the conch right. That's an injustice to Hinduism itself. But besides that, then they start chanting mantras, and they want us to believe that the sphere is like doing things. It's like reacting to it. Well, I fact checked it, and using the AI at the speed of light, it showed that, I asked for analysis on it, proof of this, proof of that, blah blah blah, right? And the gist of it from the AI was that none of those studies about the Vedic mantra stuff and all this, none of those things have been peer reviewed. They've only been done by a group of scientists who could be biased. The whole point of science is you have others review your material and your findings, and it gets further solidified and justified. That's how science works. You can't have one group of people, including hippies, sitting there saying it's blah, 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 making it sound like the most fantastic discovery in all. It would be the most fantastic discovery in all human history if their claims are true, right? And then they don't even bother to go get their science fact-checked by other scientists in order to validate their science. You know why they're not doing it? Because it's not real science. Those aren't the real findings. If it's a hollow metallic ball and you hum or you sing anything, you could be singing Jimi Hendrix or Jingle Bells. It's going to vibrate. It's going to do things. You know what I mean? So, and that's not even as far as it gets in terms of kooky out there woo-woo nonsense. People have actually claimed that this sphere has grown and shrunk in size. They also claim, and all these things that they claim about it, you'll notice something in common. They're all odd and slight. None of them are fantastic. None of them are like, oh, the sphere opened up and we saw the engine inside. Nothing like that. Or we x-rayed it and we saw some very sophisticated structure inside, or a component, or something significant inside. Nothing like that. What are their claims about the sphere? The fantastical claims? Oh, it grew a little bit. It shrunk a little bit. It gained a little bit of mass. It lost a little bit of mass. Come on now. Really? I mean, come on now. You know what I mean? That is just ridiculous baloney. Has the sphere ever once levitated off the ground in a video since it was recovered from the forest? No. Has it ever? No. No. Is there any video of it lighting up or producing sounds of it or noises of its own or doing anything significant? No. Is there any actual video evidence of it doing anything out of the ordinary? No. Go watch all the material yourself. There is nothing out there showing it doing anything other than just being a round ball of metal. Okay? And the studies, the analysis of its material has shown that it's aluminum. Okay? If I remember correctly, I think they said refined aluminum. This is not something that ancient peoples worked with anywhere on our planet, as far as I know. I could be wrong, but I'm somewhat quite sure that I am correct. Okay? Pretty sure people didn't start working with aluminum and, making refined aluminum and stuff like that until very recently. So, it's just a peculiar metal for an alleged ancient culture to utilize. Okay? Now, next, aluminum has to be anodized, otherwise it will oxidize and so forth. And if you have etchings on the aluminum, if this really was some fancy artifact and an alien or an ancient sophisticated race put the designs on it in the childish way that they did, They would have to then, anodize it. You can't just get aluminum, then scratch the surface with these etchings and everything be kosher, right? Because if this really was a sphere flying around, as is alleged in the original video, and they claim, wait for this, they claim that dating has shown the sphere to be 12,000 years old. So you're telling me this sphere has been on this planet for 12,000 years. It's been flying around in the air, in the atmosphere, with the water vapor and everything else for who knows how long, potentially up to 12,000 years. But all those etchings on its surface look relatively brand new? No. There's weathering, there's atmosphere, there's all sorts of things that will wear it down once you start scratching and etching that surface. Okay, they didn't go out and study the sphere and say, oh, well, it's got a protective layer of this to protect the etchings. No, it's just an aluminum sphere that somebody made in a workshop, lazily drilled some holes around the outside. They couldn't even bother to line the holes up. Lazily, by hand, probably with a Dremel tool, etched some fake made up language that they hallucinated onto the top. Okay, and then, put this video out there, whoever put out the original one, claiming that, oh, I found an alien sphere. And then everybody else on the planet's got nothing better to do with their lives than to waste their own time and everybody else's time pumping out endless videos every day about this stupid sphere that doesn't do anything. Okay, let me tell you another factoid. You cannot carbon date metal. What is the sphere made out of? Metal. Is it made out of anything organic? No. You cannot carbon date metal. How the hell do they know that this sphere is 12,000 years old? Oh, that's right. They said they scraped some resin off of it, and the resin dated 10, 12,000 years old. What's to stop somebody who's making this fake thing down in Colombia from going to get some 10, 12,000 year old resin and then smooshing it around on whatever parts of the sphere? Yeah, you'll have a sphere, a metal sphere that you cannot possibly ever date, so you don't know how old or young it is, but some resin on its surface is old. Now, come on. I could go get a metal bowl right now, walk out into my yard somewhere, or maybe go down to the beach where everything's a little bit older, right? And I could rub it on some of the old limestone and, calcium rock and everything else that's around there, rub it in some ancient clay that's in some seabed somewhere on the shoreline. And I could get some 10, 20,000, maybe even some million-year-old material on it. And I could go give it to some gullible scientist and say, hey, date this thing. And then they would go, oh, we can't date the metal, but the stuff on the surface is like 1,000,000 years old. Oh my God, this is from the time of the dinosaurs. You know what I mean? Baloney. Absolute baloney. The sphere is not 12,000 years old. Okay? Period. It's fake. In every aspect, this thing is fake. And I'm not even going to waste any more time on the next object, but it's worth mentioning here at least, that rod that guy found, right? Is just somebody wanted, full well that guy's sitting there saying, yeah, I went to the metal shop one day, or I work at a metal shop, and yeah, we had this rod laying around. It had rounded off ends. It was shiny, or I buffed it up and it looked shiny. And I thought to myself, hey, I could go out there and make some more fake Bugha Sphere type videos myself. Ha ha ha. He went out and did it, and what do you know? The gullible, naive bandwagon is latched on like a bunch of leeches, and they won't let go. And, don't even get me started on that story. That rod is even more bogus than the Bugha Sphere. Why anybody with an adult mind, with self dignity, would waste their brain cells listening to this garbage nonsense about these things? I don't know. I don't know why. You know what I mean? It's like mankind has been plagued by ignorance, gullibleness, and being naive. Just plagued by it. Or maybe everybody's just so damn bored, they got nothing better to do than rot the last few brain cells that they have in their head. But not me. I'm not wasting any time clicking on these stupid videos. I just did some fact checking for myself before making this one here. Only took me about half an hour. But, this thing's been out for 6 months, the story on the Bugha Sphere, and everybody's had tons of time to go do some fact checking research. But again, Laziness, ignorance, gullible, naive, all these negative qualities usually go in hand with one another. And it's just an unfortunate indication of how a huge portion of our society is just ignorant. That's the only problem, right? Or just incredibly bored. But even if I was incredibly bored, I would rather go outside and stare at nature and do nothing than watch garbage videos about some aluminum soccer ball that does nothing while everybody's hooting and hollering that it's some 12,000-year-old alien sphere from blah, 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 with absolutely zilch evidence to back it up. You know what I mean? I would rather stare at nature and do nothing if I wanted to waste my time, right? So I don't know. I cannot comprehend what goes through the minds of so many millions of people who watch these Bugha Sphere videos and are entertained by it or they believe it. I can't wrap my brain around that level of depravity. Like, I just really can't. I think it's an astounding and alarming and shocking indication, like I said, of how the human masses are just sinking lower and lower in terms of their cognitive ability. It's quite frightening. You know what I mean? You had the Romans thousands of years ago, the Romans building aqueducts and making hydraulic concrete and making fire hose pumps to put out fires with and pumping out water and all these fantastic things. I mean, this is thousands of years ago, and you got people today we're allegedly, flying throughout space probes and landing on the moon and making computers. We're in the modern age now, thousands of years after ancient Rome did that, and you've got people this ignorant. That's what frightens me. It's like humankind is going backwards, just absolutely backwards. I could almost see it now that if the Bugha Sphere was found in ancient Rome, I wouldn't even be surprised if the ancient Romans, when they found it, mind you, it's aluminum and they probably didn't know about aluminum, so they might be bewildered by that, right? But looking at what it looks like and what it does, which is nothing, just looking at it, if it was some other metal that they were familiar with, looking at those etchings and stuff, I'm pretty sure that even the Romans, when they get their minds together, their great minds, the scientists and the thinkers, they would have looked at it and thought, this is a really poorly made thing, whatever it is. Look, these holes don't even line up. Look, these etchings on the top aren't even symmetrical. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they would. Thousands of years ago realized that, but people today with their cell phones and computers can't figure this stuff out with their brain cells and their two eyeballs. Scary, man. But anyways, that's my 2 cents for today. I just really hope people shut up about this stupid nonsense. And hey, if the Bugha Sphere does activate one day, open up, and a little alien engine comes out or whatever, hey, go put out a video about that. But until it does something like that, or until it starts levitating under its own power and people film it and it's validated, don't waste our time with any more nonsense. Because we got much better things to do. You know what I mean? We got way better things to do. And the other thing is this. You got to stop and think. Going back to square one. The original footage of this thing showed it flying around in the sky. So like I said, it's a flying thing. We don't know if it's obviously not a craft because you have to have little tiny elf-like people to fly it, right? So it's maybe some type of probe or whatever, if it's real, I'm just saying, right? What civilization would make a technological probe and then write language inscriptions on the top? It's stupid. You know what I mean? Stupid. What American probe or Russian probe or Chinese probe that they have made and that flies around, because they do, everybody has them, right? And some of them are even spherical. But out of the thousands that do exist in this world today, technological ones, none of them have inscriptions on them like that or little fancy designs. You know what I mean? Those fancy designs and inscriptions are only there to make what would otherwise be a boring metallic soccer ball look a little more ornate. That's the only reason why those things were on there. And whoever did it didn't make a good enough job. Now, in closing, I will mention that I wasn't able to find the following thing in my quick research before doing the video. I'm not wasting a breath of my life talking about this stupid topic again. So I'm just going to mention this now and get out of the way. Other people out there may be familiar with this, but I was somewhere recently in a video chat, and the people were showing photos of other ancient, either North or South American artifacts, probably South American, and there were designs used by whatever culture or tribe it was that literally are identical to that symbol thing that's on the top, like the little sun thing, microchip looking sun circuit thing, whatever you want to call it. Like I saw pictures, like they showed the pictures on the screen, like a bunch of different pictures of these different artifacts, like actual ancient whatever tribe artifacts, and they had the exact same type of designs. So it was a design style. Now, I know for a fact that in other countries, like um, these more impoverished countries and stuff, where people are desperate for fame, fortune, and this and that, there, like in anybody is generally, but especially in an impoverished country, they're more so as well. What they'll do to make some quick money is dupe the gullible foreigners by getting an actual ancient artifact from their culture, because they might be abounding in the forest and the jungles, or their families have passed bunches of the stuff down for generations, and maybe the government doesn't know about it. I mean, there's just thousands of years of history. You're going to have tons of countless artifacts everywhere, right? So there have been other examples in the past where local people from whatever region or tribe of these different places have gotten actual genuine artifacts, defaced them or broken them apart, and then used portions of the ancient artifacts into hoaxes to make the finalized hoax look more ancient, because of, oh, when you look at it, oh, I see this design on it, that's what this ancient peoples used to use, oh, it must be an ancient blah blah blah, right? They've done hoaxes like that before. And if those images that I saw were real, whether they are or not, I really don't care, because the sphere is still fake. But if those images were legit, I don't believe that person would have, lied to the video chat about this, but I just couldn't go find these images again to fact check it. But if that is true and those images are real, then it's literally just, it's nothing new. It's just a tribal art from a particular tribe or region that's has other examples of it. That's all it is. And I can assure you, whatever tribe that was didn't possess spacefaring or anti-gravity technology to make spheres. They just made these little designs of no important, real world value. It's just valuable to themselves as art, and they put it on things like pottery and whatever else. And then somebody goes and takes that design and copies it for the Bugha Sphere to make it look a little ancient plus technological. The other thing you got to stop and think about is this, right? You're telling me if mankind in the future, however far ahead, decades or hundreds of years or whatever, when we're at the point where we have anti gravity flying spheres flying around doing who knows what, like I said before, you're not going to sit there and etch on its surface some quasi ancient looking language. Like, what's the point? A, what purpose does it serve? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I mean, cats and dogs have identification microchips in them. Do you really need to hand engrave something on the top of your anti gravity sphere? So what? When somebody finds it, they could pick it up and another alien can read it and say, "Oh, I know what this means." When cats today have bloody microchips in them, they could tell you all sorts of information just by going beep. If it was an anti-gravity sphere, they would just have some type of ID device in it where you just go beep on your alien device or whatever, and it would say, "Oh, this is blah 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 sphere, commissioned by blah 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 to do blah blah blah." Right? You wouldn't write stuff on the sphere. Like, what is it? Instructions? A recipe? Nobody knows. It's just nonsense. Anyways, take care, folks. See you all later, and God bless.